Are the F1 drivers going to go on strike again? Since the FIA updated the sporting code in relation to misconduct, a number of fans have said that the F1 drivers need to go on strike like they did in 1982. But what did happen in 1982? Well, before the start of the 1982 F1 season, Niki Lauda was reviewing his super license contract, and he did not like some of the clauses, especially these two. So Lauda called up Pironi, the GPDA president, and they discussed it. Apparently, Pironi explained that it had been agreed at the F1 Commission meeting, but he did agree with Lauda. So at the first race of the season, which was in Kyalami, they tried to speak to Balestri and Ecclestone, who were respectively in charge of FISA, which is now essentially the FIA, and the Formula One Constructors Association. But according to Lauda, they essentially said, accept it or go away. So although most drivers had already signed their contracts, Lauda and the GPDA organised a little bus trip, which on the Thursday morning took all of the drivers to the Sunnyside Park Hotel in Johannesburg. And apparently this was framed as a crisis meeting, although some of them were still reluctant. Whilst they were chilling at the hotel, Pironi stayed to try and negotiate with FISA and the FOCA, but he came back to the drivers saying that they had essentially been threatened with a ban. And even though that worried some of the younger drivers, they stayed. Apparently Lauda thought that solidarity would collapse if they all stayed in separate rooms, so they had one big sleepover, and this included sharing double mattresses. Throughout the night, the drivers tried to entertain each other, and this did include some of the drivers playing on the piano. However, later, the piano was used as a barricade because some team bosses did try and push their way in to retrieve their drivers. There were also no toilets in this room, which meant they had to run on an honour system whilst they were sleeping. However, Rosberg said that Teo Fabi ran like a chicken, and apparently he lost everyone's respect because he went running to Ballister and Ecclestone. Nevertheless, they woke up to the news that they'd won, although some drivers were punished by their teams. However, during the race, a statement was released that said once the flag drops, the truce will be over. So, drivers would be suspended and they would be fined. But this was taken to the Court of Appeal, and actually FISA were criticised for how they handled everything. So apparently the fine was reduced and they received a suspended one race ban. And they never saw the commitment clause again.